Hi, folks. I wanted to take a break from watching anything to do with religion. I've gotten rather burnt out on the whole subject of God and creation and, whatever. And since I'm doing the Fat Guy series, I decided instead of doing a creationist next, I was going to do one of these Ancient Aliens guys. So I've been doing a little research on David Hatcher Childress, and I came across this little film. David Hatcher Childress talks about his travels around the world. It was published very recently by an individual with the also kind and fluffy username as WorldOfConflict. Now the description says, the real-life Indiana Jones, David Hatcher Childress talks about his travels around the world. He talks also about the Olmecs and about how naive mainstream archaeologists are. Now, even without watching the film, there was a couple of things about that description that just pissed me off. Calling anybody a living Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones was a fucking idiot. Okay, fine. The character had an archaeology degree, but no fucking archaeologist does what he did. They all might want to, but that's just not reality. And through the series of interchanges of comments that I and WorldOfConflict had, I came to the conclusion that WorldOfConflict does not have a lot of connection with reality. I also noticed that I was getting the exact same type of responses from this jackass as I do, and I've seen many others get from creationists and their supporters. It's just fucking annoying, but also, at the same time, it's amazing how similar two distinct groups of idiots actually are. Now, if you shut the video off here, I really won't mind. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read the interchange of comments that I and this individual had. I won't say I'm perfect, nor will I say that I'm in the right. But I will say that guy is an asshole. My first comment, as you can see here, was, I see one major problem with calling David Hatcher Childress a real-life Indiana Jones. In the movie Raiders of the Lost Ark, Dr. Jones is shown in a classroom at a university/college teaching archaeology, showing that Indiana had an advanced degree in archaeology, whilst Childress doesn't have an actual university/college education in anything. There's no mainstream archaeology. There's real archaeologists, and there's conmen claiming to be archaeologists. Childress is the latter. This was followed by a response.
This view of yours is mainstream, but you must remember that anyone can educate themselves to be a psychiatrist and doctors, but not everyone is fitted for the job. Almost every leap humans have made have come from self-learned, uneducated individuals. Uneducated does not mean you are stupid. The educated ones goes often in a single line when they do something because they have learned it all from books. Self-learned ones have learned it all because it is their passion, not only a job.
Now, you'll have to excuse me if I stutter every now and again, because I'm trying to read what this person typed as they typed it without actually correcting the horrendous grammar. Now, there were a couple of things that bothered me about that response of his. For one, he didn't define what uneducated means. Education can mean a lot of different things. Nor did he actually provide a single leap that these supposedly uneducated people made. So I asked him about it, in a manner of speaking. If you mean that archaeologists have actually studied archaeology and are thus qualified to speak on that subject, whilst others who simply make shit up, misrepresent finds, and generally lie their asses off to sell books and DVDs to gullible idiots, then yes, you're absolutely correct. And if you want to go to a self-taught doctor, go right ahead. Yep. Name a single leap that was accomplished by uneducated individuals. And to be honest, to be fully honest, I got exactly the response I expected.
Where do you think all knowledge comes from? All knowledge comes always from one single individual first. Before anybody knows something, one must know something. You see? People who has made big discoveries, true history, has been single individuals. They have not been taught by some school. Also, they have been burned alive as witches, etc. They have not been in some Rothschild industrialized robot-making school. You know, most education today is done to fit the society norms. You are not supposed to think because then you will be a cog in the wheel of profit. The only knowledge you will be taught is how to be a slave to the banking and industry system.
I'm not precisely sure what the fuck he just said. I think he's trying to express his mistrust of the establishment. I don't know, maybe he's a lost hippie or something. Anyway, because as expected, he didn't answer me the way a normal person would, I decided to call him on it. Nice way to avoid the demand. Still waiting for a single leap that was accomplished by uneducated individuals. This is what amuses me most about your type. Never a straight answer to a question. A whole hell of a lot of idiot pontificating, but you actually say nothing of consequence, whilst at the same time defend the type of conman that you've been built by. Good luck with that. Now, I knew that the exchange would basically degenerate into name-calling, and I know you are, but what am I bullshit? But this is sometimes what I have fun with. Yeah, I know I could be accused of being a troll in this instance, but sometimes, yeah, you gotta fight fire with fire, you know? You gotta get down in the mud with the trolls and just kick their fucking asses. And before anybody gets the bright idea to accuse me of argumentum ad hominem, you should look up the difference between argumentum ad hominem and insult. They're not the same thing. Though I have to say, his next response kind of hit me from left field because it made absolutely no fucking sense whatsoever to what I had said.
Roll on floor laughing. You really think all books have been written by schools and teachers? The mainstream knowledge must always be questioned, and the free-thinking individuals opens up many unanswered questions. By the way, Childress is a researcher and writer. He has never claimed to be an archaeologist. People that think his questions are legit calls him that. There are still too many unanswered questions in the human history that need answers. So you still think the Earth is flat? Good luck with that.
Now, I will freely admit, here and now, to everybody, yes, he is correct. David Hatcher Childress, as far as I can see, does not claim to be an archaeologist. However, he doesn't deny the claims made for him as to being an archaeologist. And by doing so, he's lying by implication. Now, I didn't mention this to WorldOfConflict because I don't think he actually has the mental capacity to understand what lying by implication would mean. So I simply said, and yet again not answering, complete avoidance of the subject. So predictable, I love this shit. Got any more moronic bullshit you want to pull out of your ass, or are we done now? Apparently, we weren't done yet. And again with the out of left field, incomprehensible nonsense.
Haha, you can't figure that out by yourself? Okay, tell me how knowledge is born. Someone discovers something and write it down, yes? Everything comes from one before the rest know it. That include all subjects of human education from the very first start. If you are a kid, okay, I understand if you are lacking intelligence. But if you are an adult, then you must be really stupid.
As far as I'm aware, a person's age has absolutely nothing to do with their intelligence level. Because if I was to go by age to approximate this individual's intelligence, I would have to say that he's a sperm. I guess you could say I kind of lost my temper at that last comment. And I responded with, apparently your ass is just chock full of idiocies for you to keep pulling out and waving at the world like a monkey chucking his own shit around. How long are you going to keep vomiting out inanities like a cat puking up hairball before you actually back up something you type? You keep making factual assertions without any corroboration. You made a factual assertion regarding leaps. I challenged you to back that up, and since then you've only shown a lack of intellectual integrity. Now, I fully expected him to block me at that point, but no, little moron came back.
No idea to discuss with brainwashed, naive, closed-minded mainstreamers like you. Now I really understand the frustration Childress and many other encounters. Because if you criticize and raise questions about missing links, then your brainwashed brain goes syntax error and short circuits.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean? Who said anything about missing links or any of that bullshit? Ugh. The last exchange so far is from me, and I said, You are simply incapable of backing up your assertions, evidenced by your refusal to do so. Archaeology is about questioning, but you don't seem to understand that the answers have to be evidenced. You give the impression of being distrustful of authority, paranoia, and a general lack of intellectual integrity. You see, once again, I gave you the opportunity to show that you actually... Ooh, I made a bad mistake there. Anyway, I gave you the opportunity to show that you actually possess some real knowledge, but you chose once again to avoid the issue and dribble inanities out of your rectum. Sad. So that's how it stands. If you've managed to actually wade through all this bullshit to this point, let me know what you think. Leave a comment, subscribe, whatever. Did I go too far? Did I not go far enough? Let me know what you think. See ya.